Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie Bree, and today I'm making a controversial video. This is my top 25 most overrated filmmakers. Now this isn't to, do not interpret this as the worst filmmakers of all time. None of these are necessarily inherently bad filmmakers per se. They're just filmmakers that get hyped up beyond their capabilities. I'm going to brush over some of these guys just by basically saying their name and moving on. And some of them I'm going to give examples. The ones I don't give examples of, either I'm not that familiar with their works or I just have no interest in talking about the rubbish they make or that they're known for. And at number 25, I kind of cheated a little bit. And the reason why I cheated is because I had a hard time coming up with a number 25. And so, number 25 is not technically a filmmaker in the strictest sense. He did create a science fiction franchise that has been adapted into film considerably. And the first several films in this sci-fi franchise, he had some direct involvement in. And so I put him on the list because he is Gene Roddenberry and he created Star Trek. And I have made it abundantly clear I hate Star Trek. And so I have no respect for the guy that created Star Trek because fuck him. Number 24 is John Landis. I'm not going to go down the list, but I'm going to say John Landis is overrated because I hate the Blues Brothers. And that's the go-to John Landis movie. Whenever someone's trying to convince you John Landis is worth a shit, that's the first movie they bring up. I have no interest in that movie. I don't even care what else he's done. Just because that's the movie attached to his supposed greatness, fuck off. Number 2 is Paul Anderson. Now, Paul Anderson has made some movies I enjoy. But he's another one where he gets credit for being better than he is. His name comes up when people say, oh, you can do a good video game movie or you can do a good XYZ movie. He's the proof. And I don't think he is the proof. Number 22 is on the list because, again, not his entire filmography, but one film in particular that not only rubs me the wrong way for so many reasons, but also because I had to watch this piece of shit in film school and study it and write about it. And it comes up on top greatest films of all time lists. And I don't think it belongs on that list. The filmmaker's name is Orson Wells. And I'm not going to lie, I can't even remember the fucking name of the movie right now. It's that stupid black and white movie that everybody fucking talks about. And I don't like to talk about that movie, and so I don't know. I don't even remember what the fuck it's called right now. I can't even be bothered. Number 21 makes the list because of the movies of theirs I have seen. Again, people rant and rave about how great they are, and every single one of them sucks. And this is the Coen brothers. And specifically, it's Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I fucking hate that movie. Number 20 is Mel Brooks. I hate everything he's done. He is not funny at all. He's offensive to me, and I don't understand why people defend him. Number 19 is going to trigger some people, as some of these will. But his movies are also regarded as some of the greats, and his movies did nothing for me. They don't appeal to me. And it's Spike Lee, but I'm not going to get any deeper into it than that. Number 18, I don't even know how to say his name. And I'm not going to talk about his movies. I'm going to name him and move on. It's Guillermo Del Toro. I don't know how to even say his name. I'm sorry if I butchered it. I don't care. Moving on. Number 17 is going to lose some people and piss some people off. But he made the list because his movies are examples of an entire decade. People hold him up on a high pedestal and say his movies are shining examples of everything that they did right in the 80s. And I just don't agree with it. While I do enjoy a couple of his films, the ones that I do enjoy, to me, aren't great cinema. They're just enjoyable for what they are. And the rest of his movies, I don't enjoy at all. And this is John Hughes. And I know you probably stopped watching the video at this point. If you're still watching, number 16 is Joel Schumacher. And he makes the list because of Batman and Robin. Let's be real. Moving on. Number 15 is Tim Burton. Tim Burton is a director that, again, I do appreciate his aesthetic. And I like some of what he does. I just don't think it's as great as people say it is. And it's a bit too much. I can take Tim Burton in small doses. Yeah, I like Beetlejuice. Yeah, I like Batman. Yeah, I like Pee-wee's Big Adventure. That's it. Everything else he's done, it was like, alright, this is too far. This is too much. This is too much Tim Burton. Number 14 makes the list because, good fucking God, somebody needs to get this man an editor. It's fucking Peter Jackson. Don't get me wrong. I like fantasy. I like Dungeons and Dragons. But those Lord of the Rings movies, Jesus fucking Christ. The theatrical cuts were too goddamn long. And then he had the nerve to put out even longer director's cuts. Fuck you, dude. Number 13 is controversial, not just because of, some people say he's great and I'm not. He's controversial by and large as a human being. He's kind of a scumbag, and so he made the list because while some of his films were previously in the past held in high regard, we've kind of, as a society, reevaluated him because he's kind of a scumbag, and this is Woody Allen. Number 12, I'm going to say his name and you can figure out the rest. David Fincher. Moving on. Number 11, I'm going to get some hate mail for this. I'm going to get some nasty comments for this, but I don't care. Number 11 is Francis Ford Coppola. No. He's not the greatest fucking filmmaker of all time. And his films, which I'm not even going to identify, are not the greatest fucking cinematic masterpieces people claim they are. They're boring as shit, and I can't fucking stand them. Number 10 made the list for a lot of reasons. And one of them is a recent release. And that's why I said this is not the worst filmmakers of all time. Don't get me wrong, some of these guys are good filmmakers. These are the most overrated filmmakers of all time. And this guy's high on the list because, holy Jesus, he has a cult following. And if you dare besmirch his name, they will egg your house. And it's Christopher fucking Nolan. And I'm sorry, he doesn't, by and large, doesn't do it for me. The Dark Knight is a masterpiece. Everything else I can do without. Everything else I can do without. Number 9, I have already talked about on my horror channel, so I'm not going to get in depth. Number 9, I put on the list because he's not a bad filmmaker, but he gets, especially in the horror community, his name comes up as allegedly one of the greats, when, truth be told, most of his movies aren't even horror. And it's Alfred Hitchcock. Like I said, he's not a bad filmmaker. I just think he's overrated, highly overrated, because his films, by and large, just aren't as good as people make them out to be. Number 8 made the list because I enjoy more of his movies than I don't enjoy, so I want to be very upfront with that. But he's overrated in that he has one movie in particular that is not only my most hated movie of all time, but it's one of the highest grossing films ever. And that automatically makes him overrated because so many people are enamored by Titanic. Obviously, it's James Cameron. That they can't see past its flaws. Number 7 is the only one I put on the list that I will say is not a good filmmaker. He's overrated in that people say he's a better filmmaker than he really is, and they hold his films in higher regard than they ought to be held. And it's Stanley Kubrick. I have already talked about at length how much I fucking hate The Shining. It's not just The Shining. To me, his movies are not well made. And he's another one who's a piece of shit. So, moving on. Number 6, I put on the list because I am sick and goddamn tired of the MCU. And Joss Whedon is one of the architects of the MCU. And I think he gets way more credit for his involvement than he deserves. Number 5 is another horror filmmaker who I put on the list because I've looked into his movies, and the ones that I've looked into that I was told I would enjoy, I didn't. And so I put him on the list because I felt like he is overrated in that people make him out to be greater than he is. And it's Eli Roth. I'm not saying he's a bad filmmaker. In this case, I'm just saying I don't think he's as good as they make him out to be. Number 4, I know, is another one who's going to piss people off because he usually tops greatest filmmakers of all time lists. And I've seen people say, if you don't like this guy, you're not a film fan. I've seen people say that, and I don't like this guy. And I don't like his movies. And it's Martin Scorsese. And I don't give a shit. Come at me, I don't give a shit. Number 3 makes the list because while, again, he is what I would classify as a competent filmmaker, he does have films in his catalog that I do respect and enjoy. I think some of his films are way blown out of proportion. And one of them in particular, I have already talked about endlessly how much I hate it and think it is itself way fucking overrated. And this is John Carpenter, and the movie I can't stand by him is fucking Halloween. And I am so sick and goddamn tired of people talking about how much they love Halloween. Because I don't believe them. I believe they're just fucking sheep who say they love Halloween because they're scared to say otherwise. Number 2 is another filmmaker who is in the horror family. And he's high on the list because he is way overrated. Because he is a filmmaker that having his name on a movie automatically tells me not to watch it. Not even to go anywhere near it. Whereas having his name on a movie to certain other people is a big billboard saying, watch me. And so I put him on the list very high because he has not made one movie I've enjoyed. He's a one-trick pony, and I think that trick is played the fuck out. And his name is M. Night Shyamalan. Shyamalan? I don't know how the fuck you say his name. M. Night, what the fuck? I don't like him. Number 1 most rated filmmaker of all time. Again, he regularly ranks high on greatest filmmaker of all time list, which is why he's on my most rated list, overrated list, because he ain't as good as they say. Because he's had one passable movie, and everything else he's done has been fucking rubbish. And it's the kind of rubbish that people eat it up. They love it, and they can't get enough of it. And I'm like, you guys do realize you're eating shit, right? Somebody shat on your plate, and you're eating it, and talking about how great it tastes. And I'm over here like, no, thank you. I'll eat some fried chicken. Thank you very much. I don't want to eat shit. His name is Quentin Tarantino. And fucking Christ, can he just retire already? I don't know how many times this asshole has said movie X is going to be my last movie, and then he made 6 more movies. Jesus fucking Christ, retire already. I hate that guy.